Okay, so depending on who you ask, you may end up hearing 3 different answers, maybe even 4 answers to who's the number 1 character in the game. Now, currently, before Cloud Retainer comes out, I believe that Nahida is still the number 1 character in the game. One is at C0 specifically. So, C's like 2 Furina, it is. Yeah, C2 Furina, not exactly talking about her right now. We're talking about Nahida at C0, giving upwards of 250 elemental mastery, along with allowing, having probably, I don't know if I want to say Dendro or Hydro is the best element, but Dendro basically changed the game to the point where a C0 Raiden is now better run. I just recorded an entire Nahida video that was 22 minutes long just to find out that my mic stopped working the first minute. I don't get why it stopped working. It just did, alright? So we're going to show Nahida on like a couple teams. So yeah. Now, the whole premise of the video was like, is Nahida still number 1? Because I think she still is. I don't think that Furina is number 1. You could say that maybe even Nevi is number 1. Like, there's certain characters that are like at that point where it's like, well, you could like, I wouldn't be like crazy, like, what, are you joking, if you said Nevi was number 1, or if you said like Zhongli is number 1. It just depends on like, certain things, what you like, because Nevi, he's too self-sustaining. Like, he doesn't need supports, and if you value that highly, then yeah, sure.
I'm in danger.
And then it's as simple as, okay, sure. Because, like, he's that good. Like, Nevi is that good. He's that self-sustaining. He can clear a best by himself really easy. Better than any other character has been able to, right? So, here's Nahida on a team in which she is, I don't really know what to say. Like, it's just Nilu team. She's giving Kokomi 250 elemental mastery, which I think is a really nice thing because, she's giving Kokomi 250 elemental mastery because, as you can see here, my Nahida, once, the key is active, she has 1000 EM, which means she's going to give Kokomi 250 EM. And as you can see, Kokomi only has 500 EM-ish, sort of, right? And, well, if the key gave, the key's giving like 200 EM, so like I'm running like a 0, it's like 60 elemental mastery, right? Legitimately half of Kokomi's EM is just coming from Nahida. Like, it's legitimately just coming from Nahida, and that's it. So yeah, that is something to note. Like, Nahida gives a load of EM, which is why I think she's still the best character, on top of the fact that she already has Dendro, which is the... I want to say Dendro's the best, but at the same time, I could see Hydro being the best element.
And why is that bag on your head?
Why? Oh, no reason. Except you gave me the ugly.
I forgore. We're getting an extra 50 elemental mastery right there. My Kokomi, by default, has 19 elemental mastery. And we're able to push it up to 500. I've seen it, the highest I actually saw it was like 651, and that was in the previous recording. So we're able to push it up to like the 600s, and 250 of that is Nahida. Like, that's how insane I think Nahida is. Like, she just is insane. If you can get 250 elemental mastery, my Risley, I benefit from having Risley having 200 extra elemental mastery every time I use Kazuha. And there is a huge difference when I use my Risley with, no EM buffing, right? Like, there's such a huge difference because we go from like hitting, 170,000 damage on a charge attack. So, like, the step from having that amount of elemental mastery is just insane. Now, this is a team that you don't get to benefit from that elemental mastery because Kuki has to be on field in order to have that elemental mastery, and her E-skill doesn't snapshot. We tested this in the previous video that I recorded, but, yeah, I lost that because the audio decided, no, I'm good. Kuki doesn't snapshot. That means we don't get the EM because Kuki's the only one doing, significant reactions here. But because Nahida is a catalyst user, it's really easy to just stay in and hit them with the Dendro, right? So you just run double hydro here, and you basically win. That's the entire story, right?
You're ugly. You're disgusting. I'm going to kill you. Give me $200.
Yeah, the double hydro, and we'll do that. There's no real point. I mean, is there a point? I don't actually know. I legitimately do not know if there's a point using her Q skill. It might be better off to not, because we don't get any elemental mastery, and I don't really know beyond the elemental mastery and like the other stuff. Yeah, I guess the only thing is that like it lasts longer, and we get a 0.45 second decrease in our interval here. So I guess it does matter for us to pop that, which, I mean, that's another thing with Nahida, is her burst is insanely easy to get. I don't know if you just saw it, but if we come over to Nahida's burst, it's 50 cost. Yeah, she's a solo Dendro on this team, and she already has her burst back. Jeez! And also, she generates a load of particles, too. It's incredible, honestly. Nahida is just, like, the most, like, Nahida is, like, I feel like the definition of a character. You just throw her on a team, and, like, you gotta be getting a benefit. Like, it's very hard to dodge the benefits that Nahida gives. Like, you have to be, because, like, with Kazuha, you could be, like, physical or something, or you could not be able to absorb the element. With Nahida, it's like, bro, if you're Electro, Hydro, or even possibly Dendro, we have this artifact set on her, right? You could be seeing a buff from having this artifact set on her. And then you also have to be a character that doesn't scale off of EM, right? And you could have Burgi on teams. And even if you don't, if you're a cryo character, right? You could also be a cryo character who needs burn in order to melt. This is like Ganyu melt or something. I had Toma on here, and now I already switched off his build because I stopped testing him.
Why are you the way that you are?
We're just gonna leave his build at the way that it is, and we're gonna hope that it works. All right, guys, that's what we're gonna do. But you could even be a cryo character and benefit from Nahida, because she's gonna give Risley EM, and then she's also gonna allow Risley to melt because of her burning, right? You know, like, it's very, very hard to dodge a buff from her. Like, I don't know what element. I mean, physical obviously would be the #1 element. Like, physical, you can dodge it, right? It's so hard to have Nahida not buff a character. Like, she's just there and she's buffing. Like, it's not like Furina where it's like, you know, you have to bring someone else too. I guess that's what happened when I don't want to build my Toma. So, yeah, it's just, Nahida, I just think, is still the #1 character, because she's just at C0. She doesn't, like, hinder your team at all. Like, you are probably going to end up being better bringing her than not bringing her. There are very few characters that don't, like, get a buff from her whatsoever, like Ito, because they decided, nah, we're not gonna get, you know, anything for Geo, right? Zhao.
I think we all know where this is going, so let's just skip to the end.
Okay, so I don't know what just happened, because I went to go update my video graphics driver thingy, because, man, the screen went black, literally everything went, I had to make sure. You know, new PC, yeah, I'm having some issues for some reason with my audio, and that was the first time it did that. I'm just going to assume it was the graphics driver. So, yeah, I don't know exactly what I was talking about, but I do know that it's very, 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 very hard to dodge Nahida's buff, which is what I was trying to say. Nahida is just a kind of character, like, she's Dendro, and she's giving 250 elemental mastery, along with doing damage outside. Like, this doesn't hit that hard unless you put Electro on it. This E skill, it can hit pretty hard. I've seen it hit for like 50k on some accounts. Mine only hits for 30k. And to give you an idea of, you know, 30k, like 898, right? That's pretty meh. But then you also have like 19% crit rate and then 100% crit damage, right? That's not that good.
Huh?
And the reason why you can get away with 19% crit rate is because you get 24% here. That's 24% at maximum, right? Yeah, you do need 1,000 EM, so I don't have exactly the 24% crit rate, but for some reason my thing crits pretty often, you know, especially, you know, like, just, it's pretty bad that I have that much crit rate, but at the same time, I do also have basically a full EM Nahida, so it's nice at the same time. Like, I could start using these artifacts instead and try a more DPS oriented, but Nahida, she doesn't, like, you just really need, like, a set on her, and then she starts functioning really well. Like, you just need a proper set on her, you know, put her, you know, get her stats high enough, and then she functions pretty well, and you don't have any issues with her. Which is why I think I just have to put her above Furina. Like, I think Furina probably... I think if we had to order the characters, it would probably be Nahida, Kazuha, and then Furina in terms of, like, the characters. Like, I just don't like how Furina is, man. She's a little too limiting, right? She's just a little too, like, oh, do you want to add her to a team? Oh, well, if that team doesn't already have an HP fluctuating character, then you might as well, you know, sort of give up. Because we don't have a character that's, like, there for Furina, right? Furina doesn't have a character that she could just pair with and go on, like, a load of teams. And, you know, I think the reason is because she needs a character to pair with. Like, the fact that she's, like, the only support in the game that you need to, like, work around just hinders her so much. It has to. Like, you can't just compare, like, oh... And you don't even get her entire support for a while. You have to wait until, like, the second rotation, and then her supports start looking good. But other than that, before the second rotation, like, you're sort of not really, like, peaking above, like, what Kazuha could do by himself with a Viridescent Shred. And I feel like most of the time nowadays, I feel like I don't really, you know... The only time I really ever use Furina nowadays is just when I have Nevi, like, or Nevi or Mono Hydro. Those are the only two teams. And you know where I use, you know, Furina, or not Furina. You want to know where I use Nahida? Yeah, this team, Hyper Bloom, Ride and Aggravate if I'm feeling, you know, quirky, right? You know, like, if I want to try Sinnoh, you know. Also Nilu, right? Then yeah, basically... Like, there's a lot of teams, and she has a lot more variety, right? I don't know how much Cloud Retainer is going to help her out, because plunging attacks, that's kind of niche, but hopefully it'll be somewhat good, and Furina will be good at the same time. Yeah, we're going to be hoping, right? So yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.